All right, good afternoon. This is Scott Hamlin, and I'm screencasting problem 1.3. This is my workspace right here. As usual, I've worked out the problem before, and I'm just going to go through line by line and describe what I'm doing. To preface the program, I put in code, basically put in a block for problem 1.3, my name, class, and today's date. The problem is write a program that outputs the largest string of ascending alphabetic letters in a row contained in a string output, string input. Basically, letters that are alphabetized from A to Z, the ones most that happen in order. So the caveats of this output. The first maximum of occurrence in a string is selected for output. So if you have two strings two substrings in a string that are equal, the first occurrence is the one you're going to output. I did a test program. I'm going to do a test program of the two given strings given in the example, and I'm also going to add a test which gets a random string from a random string generator. And I'm kind of glad I did that, because when I ran through this the first time, my code produced the right answer, but I had bugs in it and didn't know it. And running the random larger string over and over identified there was a problem, and I'd go back and I used the Python virtual to go through. It took me several hours. I don't think you want to watch the whole video for that. So let's get started here. I need to import a couple things. Import random, and this is going to be used for the variable s2 rand string creation. That's going to be my random string that I'm going to create in this program. And then from random, I want to import random integer. This is going to be used for let's see, used for rand int for string of unknown length. Basically, it's going to give me a random number inside two parameters, so that I get just a random number of letters in my string. So it could be a 10 length string, or 12 or 15. It'll just be random. All right, and last I need to import string, which this is going to be used for actually the this is my set of random letters that we're going to be taking from. This is the set of letters that the random string is going to pull from, and these are all lowercase from A to Z. Okay, so those are the imports I need to do. And this code, this is going to be my generator for my random string. I want to assign to the variable value, I want a random integer, and in this one, I'll just do, I want at least 6, because if it's lower than 6, I'm not going to get very many letters in a row. And I'm going to do 14, because I've tried it with higher, and it's a little harder for you to see and count all of them just to make sure the answer's correct. So between 6 and 14 is a good range for this string. And as you'll see, I'll get a random number between those two. Now I want to define the test cases that we want to test. And the first one's going to be the string S. And this is comes right from the problem. CXBOBOBEGGHAKL. So I know what the answer should be on that. So that's helpful. Then S1, that's the other test case. And this one helps for sure. This definitely tests out the ABC and BCD are both going to come out as the longest string, and you want to make sure that ABC is the one we output. since it's the first three-letter string that is alphabetized from A to Z. Okay, and then our variable S2 random variable will be defined by this code here with the join command again. Choice letters. And letters that's where we've defined letters as a string, ASCII lowercase. So that's A through Z all lowercase. And for I in range, and then value is that values are random number that was generated between 6 and 14. So then we go at parentheses, and we're good there. All right. Now let's start coding for this. So first of all, let's put a for loop to test all the test cases. So for element in, and we're going to make a set S, S1, and S2 rand. And what this will do is first we'll go to S, that'll be our first element, then we'll go S1, then we're going to go S2. All right, and this is going to check each test case. All right, so my first variable, alpha order. Okay, this is my running order of what's alphabetized, and we want to initialize that, and we're going to initialize that with the very first. So we're say the first one we're testing is S, the variable S. We want to initialize alpha order with the very first index in that, so it should be initialized with letter A. Okay, I'll go ahead and describe that. So, as alphabetic order variable. So this is the alphabetic order variable. Now, alpha order. Now this one, alpha order large, is going to be our running total of what's the largest string of alphabetized substring in the set that we're testing S. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to initialize that also with the very first element, because both cases are in fact true. Initialize largest alphabetic order variable. Okay. All right, next, and I want a counter. This counter, we're going to use this to help us go through the loop, looping through each test case, and give us an idea of when we're going to exit. I'm going to show you how that's going to work. Okay, so that starts our first. Every time we start a new test case, we want to initialize alpha order large, and we want to initialize our counter to 0. We'll start another for loop for each letter in element. And it's just, I mean, Python is very powerful. It's intuitive to me that element is what I want to use, and it works. And it's easy to use. So I want to go through my element, which in this case we'll say is S, and I want to go through each letter in S. Okay, so this should be looking at the letter A in S. So let's test each letter in each test case. All right. Now we have our if statement. If counter, which in this case is 0, is less than the length element minus 1. Okay, and now what this is doing is I want to make sure that my counter is going to I want to make sure I don't get to the end of my string, because I'm going to actually look at the next index value in this string. And if I end up looking at an index value that's past the end, I'm going to get an error. So that's why I don't want to go past the length of element minus 1. So I set that to, that's why I put this if statement there. So I'm within, I'm not on the last element. I'm not on the last letter in element. So we're going to put counter. We're going to go ahead and increment it by 1. And the reason we do this is we're going to be using counter to look at the second index value. Right now we're looking at index value 0. Counter is going to be used to look at index value 1. So we'll put another if statement. If letter is less than or equal to element counter. So what this is looking at. What this is looking at is it's looking at our first letter in S, and it's going to look at the next index letter. And if that letter is less, and that's and lexicon-wise, if it comes before the other letter, we're going to add it to alpha order. Alpha order, just increment it with counter. So now we've what we've done is we've taken the one at index place 1 and added it in the string with index place 0 because it's in order. So what if it's not? Okay, and we're going to go else. If it's not in alphabetical order, then we're going to look at we're going to go AO, which is A being our alpha original. We want to look at the length of alpha order, okay? And we'll assign that to the variable AO. And then we're going to look at AOL, which is alpha original largest, okay? And we want to take a look at the length of that. Okay, alpha order large. Okay, I want to take a look at that. Okay, if AO larger than AOL, then what I want to do is what I have is I have my new substring, and I want to check it against the one I say is the largest. And if my new substring on AO is larger than what I had largest, basically going to replace it. Alpha order large now equals alpha order. Okay, and then alpha order equals, and what I'm doing now is I'm basically resetting alpha order to the next letter, because that's what we're going to use that in the loop to check the next letter, and the alpha order needs to be reset to the one after. So, and then we're going to go else, and if alpha order isn't larger than the largest, we still need to reset alpha order to the next letter. Okay, so it comes up and compares. Okay, so that's the loop. That'll go. That loop will continue to go through and check all the letters. Now, when we end up getting to the end of S, and when the counter ends up getting to, so say S is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15. It's 15 in length. 14 is the last index value. So when counter gets to 14, okay, we'll be here 14. It's not less than 14, and we're going to get out of this for loop. And I'll need to, at that point, okay, it'll be right there under the 4. We want to do one last check and make sure that whatever we have in AO is not larger than what we currently say is our largest string. So we're going to go ahead and get those lengths captured again. I'm going to do another if statement at AO. And I admit that I need to look at this harder. And there's probably a way to get some of this code out of here. This is a repeat code. And while I need it in here to do this, there must be a way to reduce some of this code because it is a little lengthy. And I don't like repeating code, but it almost seems like I can't avoid it here. Now it took me a while to get where I am here. So at some point I just have to go forward and say, okay, this is what I have. So if AO is greater than what I think is the largest, I need to assign that to alpha order large. So I do have the most up-to-date string. Okay, now I've solved the problem. So now, once that's done, I want to print, and I want to go our longest substring in alphabetical order for and plus. And what's great, and it's still, element is still in there, so that's going to be the S. It'll print out the S so you can see what we're working on, and is there we go, and then plus alpha order large. Okay, so we'll print that out, and then the last thing we want to do before we go back up to the for loop, because now we're going to our next test case, we want to make sure everything's reset. I just do this as a precaution, but I just want to blank them out to make sure that these two variables have nothing in them. So alpha order equals that, and then alpha order large equals that. This here, resets sets variable. Oh, no, variable and resets. Okay, now there's our code. Let's see how it works. We should be testing out all 3 of these. Okay, all right. Okay, we got an error. So let's see, what did we do wrong? Okay, let's see. S2 rand. Name letters is not defined. Okay, let's see. Oh, I've got a misspelling here for letter. So obviously that's in our random. There we go. There's letters. And that is word string. Did I? Oh, I know what I forgot to do. There we go. Right there. Letters. Didn't define it. Is a string ASCII. There we go. There, I forgot to actually define the variable. So when we came down to here, so I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, all right. Let's see. Our first one, alpha. Okay, so the first one is actually chose S2 rand. Okay, gave us this random string here. And it says Q and V. See this word. Q and V, there's 2 letters that are in a row. CH, there's 2. E breaks it up. EP is 2, but I breaks it up. Okay, IV is 2, but H breaks it up. HG, very good. I mean, that's surprising. Out of that many letters, you only got 2, so it works. And then for the string AC, AXC, BO, BO, BE, GG, HA, KL, we have a 5-letter string, and that is the right answer. And then ABC, BCD, it printed out the very first one. So I would say the test was a success. We'll try one more. What that random thing was. We'll give it a shot. Okay, I mean, yeah, shift end. Okay, there we go. And this time there's the random string. It says we have 4 in a row. And what's good about here is we've made our code so, hey, even if you have repeating letters, and it's as long as it's less than or equal, it's going to keep it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and yep, that works. All right. I hope you enjoyed that. I will submit my files, and let's end this recording.